Why EV tariffs won't stop Chinese cars? Why do you think Chinese electric cars will dominate the world market even though tariffs are going up? As we watch this movie, we'll look at the strategies and benefits that help Chinese automakers do well even though trade barriers hurt them. What does this mean for the future of the auto business, and how are they dealing with these problems? Come with us as we figure out why EV tariffs won't stop the flow of Chinese cars and what that means for customers and businesses around the world. It should come as no surprise that Joe Biden and Donald Trump are doing their best to outdo one another in their efforts to prevent Chinese electric automobiles from entering the United States. This serves as a safety belt in the voting process in crucial swing manufacturing states, which both contenders for the presidency of the United States of America need to win in November. In spite of Trump's normally fiery rhetoric and Biden's decision to quadruple electric vehicle tariffs to 100%, China's global dominance will not be significantly impacted because of these developments. The market for Chinese electric vehicle exports is already quite tiny, and it is continuing to decrease. Where the Beijing Car Show took place in April, the BYD Seagull electric vehicle was on display. The Bloomberg, according to an economic analysis that was published this week by the National Australia Bank, the value of Chinese electric vehicle sales to Australia is already 7 times higher than such sales to other countries, such as the United States. Given the eagerness of both parties to prevent any attempt by China to circumvent these tariffs by manufacturing in Mexico or Canada, there is a low probability that this equation will change significantly. Given its tight link with the automobile market in the United States, the Trudeau administration is contemplating the extent to which it should elevate its tariffs on electric vehicles from 6% to 8%. It is more likely that the possibility of additional tariffs in Europe will cause irreparable harm to the expansion of electric vehicles, EVs, from China into Western countries, even if any new tariffs that are imposed in Europe will be of a considerably smaller magnitude. At the moment, the European Union imposes a duty of 10% on electric vehicle imports from China. An anti-subsidy review of the electric vehicle industry is scheduled to be completed in July and is anticipated to suggest higher rates. The review was requested by the European Commission. The exact amount of the increase is still unknown. German automakers, in particular, are concerned about the possibility of Chinese reprisal causing damage to their own diminishing but still lucrative exports into China. On the other hand, preventing China from producing electric vehicles would be detrimental to Europe's efforts to reduce emissions. Mercedes-Benz, for instance, had intended to begin producing all-electric vehicles in Europe by the end of the decade. Nevertheless, the company will now continue to produce automobiles powered by internal combustion engines and hybrid engines well into the 2030s. During the Beijing Auto Show, a Mercedes-Benz electric G-Class vehicle was on display. The Bloomberg, the bigger picture is that electric vehicle sales in China will continue to be largely unchallenged in the majority of Asian countries and other regions, including in the country's home market. In China, electric vehicles accounted for 38% of the country's total domestic car sales, as reported by the International Energy Agency. China was responsible for the sale of 59% of the 13.8 million electric vehicles that were sold in 2017. More than 2/3 of those were created in China by Chinese manufacturers. The remaining ones were produced in China through joint ventures with automobile manufacturers such as Tesla, in addition to the decreasing percentage of other imports that were primarily from Europe. As a result of the downturn in spending by Chinese consumers, the domestic market is also not as robust as an international market. However, it is still a very vast and growing base that dwarfs the sudden slowdown of production plans for electric vehicles that manufacturers in the United States and Europe have been making in the past. China's BYD, Li Auto, and SAIC are operating at 80% of their fast-expanding capacity, in contrast to Ford Motors' estimate of multi-billion-dollar losses on electric vehicles, EVs, for example. More specifically, it is the smaller, more recent entrants or Chinese makers of automobiles powered by internal combustion engines that are having a difficult time making a profit and seeing decreased sales. The generous provision of subsidies. Similar to the processing of rare earths and electric vehicle batteries, this expansion in electric vehicle capability is a reflection of Beijing's long-term strategies that have been enacted to expand the sector over the course of decades. EV manufacturers in China started receiving large subsidies from the state at least 15 years ago, but the state recognized them as an important future industry. This was well before anyone in the United States came up with the idea of the Inflation Reduction Act. Even China's excess manufacturing capacity, which drives down costs around the world, provides Beijing with the benefit of preventing other businesses that are facing more urgent commercial constraints from attempting to catch up and compete with China. This helps to explain why Chinese firms dominate the worldwide supply of electric vehicle batteries, which are available at lower prices and of an increasingly higher quality. Additionally, Chinese companies are able to keep control over a significant portion of the processing of the minerals that are used in the production of these batteries. The history of this situation provides the basis for governments all over the world, including the government of Australia, to presently invest in their own types of protectionism and subsidies. The Western world's tardy realization of the significance of supply chains coming from countries other than China has given this trend a significant boost. A significant portion of the minerals, metals, and other materials are essential for the transition to a new energy source, as well as for the development of advanced technology for defense and other applications. For example, the United States is increasing the taxes it imposes on Chinese lithium-ion batteries and battery parts from 7.5% to 25%. This is in addition to the wide range of restrictions and tariffs that have been placed on Chinese semiconductors. Critical minerals and permanent magnets are subject to a tariff increase to 25%. Economics that is perverse. In addition to this is before Donald Trump gets the chance to increase the amount of his current wager. In spite of the fact that it does not own a sizable domestic market or its own vehicle sector, Australia is confronted with a distinct collection of choices in comparison to either the United States or Europe. The provision of $1 billion for the production of solar panels looks to be particularly perverse economics due to the fact that this is the case. On the other hand, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development warns that Australia is very susceptible to the risks that could be brought about by a significant decrease in international trade. To a certain part, this is owing to the fact that it is striving to strike a delicate balance in the process of creating its critical minerals processing industries while simultaneously being primarily dependent on Chinese investment and expertise. This is the reason why it is experiencing this situation. This will result in intensive lobbying over the amount of Chinese investment that will prevent projects from being eligible for the production tax credits granted by the government beginning in 2027 for the refining and processing of critical minerals. This will take place over the course of the next several months. There are some individuals who are involved in the industry who believe that Australia will continue to stick to the limit of a maximum 25% that is imposed by the United States in order to maintain its eligibility for financial incentives. They argue that it would be detrimental to dependable Chinese partners in projects that have higher levels of co-investment but do not have majority Chinese control. Those who disagree with this position think that it would be detrimental to these initiatives. Additionally, American battery makers and automotive manufacturers that are looking for tax breaks and incentives in the United States would not be able to supply Australian lithium and nickel producers who transfer their products to China for processing. This would be the case if the items were sent to China. You have arrived at the traditional economic game of protectionism and subsidies, which has been retooled in a contemporary form. If you found this exploration of why EV tariffs won't stop Chinese cars insightful, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with others interested in the future of the automotive industry. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss our latest updates. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.